somewhere in the neighborhood of 25% of you currently watching this video have already f***ed up your fantasy season. And I'm going to explain to you exactly how right now. Headliner Nation, I'm gonna scream it from the rooftops. Don't do this! It's a common mistake we see year after year after year with people who play fantasy football. And one of the biggest reasons why their fantasy season is lost before it even starts. And it's the fact that you take a preconceived notion or maybe something that you saw or heard last season and you carry that with you into this draft season without doing the proper research to figure out whether or not that's actually accurate. And I've got an in-depth breakdown on two guys we see a lot of hesitation on with numbers that you probably did not know before this video. So hit that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned because I'm about ready to change your mind on these two guys. People always find an excuse to not like DJ Moore. And the only thing they see in him right now is a guy coming off a down season, which he really didn't have any help at the quarterback position, heading to a new team with another quarterback that people just don't like for whatever reason. And we'll talk more about Fields in a second. But people forget from 2019 to 2021, DJ Moore put up great numbers. He averaged 82 receptions on 138 targets, 1,175 receiving yards, and 4 touchdowns. And if you add those numbers together, that comes out to 182 and a half PPR fantasy points. Which if you take a look at last year's fantasy points among wide receivers, that would have made him the wide receiver 19 on the season. And you want to know who he did that with? DJ Moore played 40 games during that time frame with Kyle Allen, Teddy Bridgewater, and Sam Darnold as his starting quarterback. And now that he's moving to Justin Fields, he's being drafted on Underdog as the wide receiver 26. And before I go any further with the video, just a quick reminder to everybody, if you haven't signed up over on Underdog with code word headliners yet, you need to do it right now. Because if you make the minimum deposit of $10, Underdog is going to match your deposit up to $100, and you're going to get a free draft guide from us. Our draft guide costs $21.99. If you sign up on Underdog and deposit $10, you're getting it for more than 50% off. And on top of it, you're going to be entered into a drawing to win a piece of memorabilia from Jake's office. So download the app, head to their website, whatever works. Make sure you use code word headliners when you sign up and deposit that $10. You'll get your free draft guide as soon as it drops. But here's where I want to make a strong correlation between DJ Moore and Justin Fields. And I talked about this in a video I did a couple of weeks ago that didn't end up getting a ton of views, so I really thought it was important to bring it up again. Over the course of his career, DJ Moore has never been really known as a deep threat in the league. He's a great route runner. He can win all over the field, but no one has really looked at him as that type of guy that stretches the field or goes down the field well. Part of that because he averaged 4 touchdowns a season during that time frame. But last season, he was 3rd in the NFL with 30 targets that were 20 or more yards down the field. And on those targets, he was 5th in receptions, 8th in receiving yards, and 4 of his 7 touchdowns came on those targets, which was tied for 5th among wide receivers. So DJ Moore was utilized in that role a little bit more last year and expanded that role, which was good to see. And don't forget, the guy is only going to be 26 years old this season. But now we need to talk about Justin Fields. And one of the biggest reasons why people don't want anything to do with DJ Moore is because they say Justin Fields just won't throw the ball enough. Or they'll say he's not a good enough passer. Even though he had some of the fewest passing attempts in the league last year, 51 of his attempts were 20 or more yards down the field, which was actually 4 more than Dak Prescott and only 5 behind Jared Goff. He also ranked 18th in completion and yards on those targets, 20 or more yards down the field. And his average depth of target was 9.5 yards, 7th highest in the league. And you might be saying right now, Kyle, so what? He ranked 18th. That's below the league average. Yeah, but if you look at his percentage percentage of passing attempts that were 20 or more yards down the field, he tied for 11th at 16%. So even though he didn't have a ton of passing attempts last year, if you take a look at the overall percentage of how many times he went down the field, he was actually well above the league average in taking those shots. Now let's tie this all together, because I've given you a lot of information and maybe you're still not clear on the point that I'm trying to make right now. First off, take a look at what the Bears did this offseason. They brought in DJ Moore. They're going to be getting Darnell Mooney back and healthy after an injury last year. You've got a full season of Chase Claypool, and they added Nate Davis and Darnell Wright on the offensive line. Maybe this Bears team last year just wasn't good enough to allow us to see the full potential of Justin Fields. And maybe now that they've made some moves, we can finally see him flourish. But what about some other young quarterbacks that maybe didn't flourish or reach their full potential until their team traded for a legitimate wide receiver one? Last year, we saw it with Tua. They added Tyreek Hill in the offseason, and Jalen Hurts took a big step forward when they added A.J. Brown. Joe Burrow took a huge step forward after they drafted Jamar Chase, and Josh Allen has become one of the best quarterbacks in all of football after the Bills traded for Stephon Diggs. And Justin Fields, who is very comparable to both Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts, with a lot of the same concerns, but a lot of the same strengths, finds himself in the same position now this year with a chance to also break out. But that's part of the reason why some of you may lose your fantasy seasons before they ever start, because you've got in the back of your mind that Justin Fields just didn't throw the ball enough last year, he threw too many interceptions, and that DJ Moore is coming off a down year, and you just use that to say, I don't want any part of these guys. But when you take all the information I just gave you and start to wrap it up into a nice warm blanket, you have to realize that the potential for Justin Fields to get better is obviously there. And if he does, DJ Moore will play with his best quarterback in the past 4 seasons. And Headliner Nation, this is why we do it better than anybody out there. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and leave me a comment down below and let me know if I changed your mind at all on Justin Fields and DJ Moore, or if I only helped to reinforce what you were already thinking. Headliner Nation, peace out, stay safe and healthy, and I'll catch you all on the next episode of the Fantasy Headliners.